Hello, I have a question for you. Have you ever eaten a whole sleeve of cookies and then next thing you know, you think, oh my God, where did they go? Or eat a whole tub of ice cream? I certainly have. I've done that. I ate ice cream, I ate cookies. I had a really um, vicious sugar monster. And I also learned to tame it. I just a week ago, we went to a bakery and I was able to get one thing after not eating sugar for 3 weeks. I chose one thing, I had it, I decided to do it very consciously, like as an experiment. What would happen if I just eat this thing? Can I eat number one, just one? And can I go back to not eating sugar at all again as soon as I'm done with this thing? And yeah, I did. And yesterday we went out to celebrate somebody's birthday in my family. And of course, in the restaurant, there are desserts coming. And I was like, okay, let's see. Again, experimenting. And I looked at the menu, I looked at all the options, and I realized I don't want it. So I didn't order any dessert and I didn't feel an ounce deprivation or ounce of like, oh, I'm missing out on anything like that. So I can, as of right now, I can say that I think I have tamed my sugar monster. And the reason I'm making this video, I want to share with you how I did it. And so let's just start. So if you would like to work with your sugar monster and your sugar cravings, if you're having hard times, I think it's going to help you. And you can use it and take it or leave it, anything that works for you. So let's start. I have like a 7-step system of, it's a very nice, and I will probably write it down and maybe post the link below to the document so you have a nice short version of this. But I want to talk about each point separately so I can explain why that's there and what's the purpose of it. So, I liked first I did it. Okay, a little bit of history, backstory. First time I quit sugar for long periods of time was a few years ago, and I went cold turkey, um, and I went for 6 months. My plan was to go for a year, but I lasted 6 months because we went to vacation, and then I started to be like, oh, I'll just have something. And then when we came back, it was my daughter's birthday, and I was like, oh, well, I want to be part of this birthday. Um, I don't want to be like an outsider, so I want to be connected to the people. So, and then slowly the grip got me again, and then I was eating sugar for a while. And later I decided to do it differently. I prepared myself, I became a coach, I started to use my tools, and now I developed this system. So it's 7 steps, and the first step is to sit down and really think, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to quit sugar for good? Why do you not to be do you want to be not dependent on it? Why do you want to go through the trouble? What's in it for you? And I would write it down in as much detail as possible. Details are so important. And when you write down why you want to do this, then sit down with yourself and really scan your body, your mind, your psyche, and see if there are any parts of you that don't want to quit sugar. Because if there is a very active, some people call it addiction, some people call it attachment, whatever you call it, it's okay. But which part of you really is wanting it? And why does this part wants it? So it's a good place to kind of notice this. So there's part of you that wants to quit sugar, and there's the other part that doesn't. If you're in a dilemma and if you're having hard times quitting sugar, there's definitely a part of you that doesn't want to quit. And then if you're fighting within yourself, it's a lost battle. Sooner or later, this other part will take over. So it's great to get to know both of those parts. Now, for the next step, you're going to decide um, exactly what you're going to do, like set a boundary. For me, I said, I'm not going to eat refined sugar, and I'm going to eat fruit. I eat dates, I eat prunes, I eat apricots, I eat fresh fruit, of course, as much as I want. And I occasionally eat a little bit of honey. I learned that maple syrup doesn't work for me. My body has hard times processing it, just like refined sugar, so I stay away from that. And so that's your boundary. You need to make your own, make it very specific. Some people don't eat anything sweet at all, and it works for them. Some people eat fresh fruit but not dried fruit. Some people don't eat honey but they eat maple syrup. So you have to really listen to your own body and decide for yourself what's going to work for you, and you're going to experiment with this, right? So learn while you do it. Don't set the boundaries forever. And that brings me to my next step, which is set a specific period of time. Why is that? If you say there will be part of you who will say, I want to quit forever, I don't want to ever touch the stuff again. And I hear you, I was like that. That's when I was trying to quit it for a year. And halfway through I failed, right? But I failed, but I learned a lot of things. I learned that a year is too much for my brain. So now I set, when I started doing it again, I set a boundary of 30 days. 30 days for me was fine. I can do a lot of things for 30 days. 30-day period, I can exercise every day for 30-day period. I can quit sugar for 30 days. So it wasn't like really, really hard. If 30 days sounds too much, then you start maybe with a week or even with one day. One day, if you can accomplish one day, that's a big, big achievement because, um, you know, you have to work with what works for you. And then you start one day and then you slowly, slowly building up on that. So make a very specific um, boundary of the time and what is it you're going to do. The step number 4 is get your mindset in order. And we started with that a little bit in step number 1, why? But here we're going to get all the details. We're going to think of all the ways where things might go wrong. And you're going to plan ahead. You're going to prepare for all the possible situations that can happen. And I know it's impossible to prepare for all of them, but we're going to do our best, and then we're going to learn as we go. So you're going to have to learn to meet your needs. Think about it this way. When the sugar craving hits, what is happening in your life? What need is this sugar craving trying to meet? What feelings are you trying to escape? And what feelings are you chasing? When I really started to investigate my own, um, cravings, I realized I wanted to eat sugar when I was bored, when I was stressed, when I was tired, when I was sad, when I was anxious, when I was in pain. And I also used it to receive pleasure, to seek connection, like I, how, for example, the birthday of my daughter, I wanted this connection. We would eat cake together. We were connecting and celebrating together. So sugar was like a big part of my life. So when I quitted cold turkey without getting any prep, no wonder I crumbled. So the more of this preparation you do, the better it is. I also noticed that I like to eat the most cravings for me were hitting between 2 and 5 p.m. And that stems from my childhood. When I was a kid, I would come home after school. We finished early, and I would be home at 1 or 2 o'clock. I was alone. I would warm up my own lunch, and then I would be like, wondering what to do, and maybe I ate a dessert or a cookie, and so it just became like I would snack all afternoon until my mom got home, and we would, move on. So that was, I didn't really realize it until I slowed down and really investigated when, what, why, where, you know? So this also forced me to come up with strategies like, okay, what am I going to do when I'm bored? What am I going to do when I'm anxious? Anxiety was a huge thing for me. I was anxious for most of my life. I had to find ways to deal with my anxiety because sugar would numb a lot of pain, a lot of those feelings, that sadness, the pain. Like, for example, if I would hurt myself, I would use sugar to soothe me. So, if I'm going to quit sugar, what am I going to offer myself instead? How am I going to take care of myself? I had to go and find ways to do it. And I literally wrote these things down. And I forgot some, of course. And in my 30-day challenge, I found like, oh, this is what's happening. Like, I remember my period came and I was like, oh yeah, I usually like to eat something sweet and I'm not eating sugar, so what can I do? So some things will come up and that's okay as long as you're keeping yourself aware and present and really curious, you're going to be able to handle it and without a fight, without repressing and beating yourself up and fighting with yourself. Fighting with yourself doesn't work. For me, it doesn't work. It's like, I like this metaphor John Gabriel uses. He says dieting, and in this case, quitting sugar, it's like holding a basketball underwater. It requires a lot of energy non-stop, and as soon as you really relax just a little bit, the ball just pops out of the water, and here you are again, pressing and pressing. So instead of pressing that ball under the water and trying to pretend it just doesn't exist, my way is to find out why, what, and then get ready for it and learn to meet my own needs. So I think this step is the most important one of them all. And I would spend a lot of time on it and use it as use this as a journey. It's not one sit down once and done. It's more about learning about yourself, learning about your triggers, learning about your situation, and then working with yourself and then integrating those parts that are that you don't like or whatever back within you. Okay, so the next step I like to use is accountability. Of course, accountability is helpful in a lot of ways, right? So I didn't announce to the whole world that I was going sugar-free, but I did say to my family, my immediate family, my husband, my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter. And then when I would be like, oh, I wish I had something, or she would be, my daughter would be eating something and wanted to share something with me, I was not going to let her see me give up on something that I have control over. Putting something in my mouth, it's 100% under my control, whether I'm going to put it in my mouth or not. Putting that sweet, putting that sugar, putting whatever, right? So I'm telling my daughter all the time, please don't give up. Keep going. You can do it. I'm her biggest cheerleader, right? Why would I let her see me fail? What? Like, there was no way. So that helped me a couple times thinking, yeah, no way I'm going to eat that thing. before my challenge is over. Um, okay, and then once you have all those steps, you just have to decide on the starting date and start. You'll never be 100% ready. Like, or you'll be like, one moment you're ready and then you're not ready. Just decide on a date and time and start and just go with it. Um, it's like diving off the board into the water. Just do it. And when things get hard, step number three, because in the beginning, in the first week or first 10 days, usually most people will experience some serious cravings because we're changing our brain. Our brain by default wants to go to the highway. I am in pain, I'm sad, I'm going to go eat sugar, whatever it is your highway, right? So we will have to be and also there's also physical withdrawal. Sugar is quite addictive, as you know, if you're watching this. So it will be, it might get a little bit hard in the beginning. And here I'm suggesting kind self-talk, patience. It's like, think about that part of you that's really struggling as a little creature who is sad and in trouble, or and talk to that, to yourself, to that part of you, like, it's okay, it's going to be okay, I'm here for you, I'm not going to leave you. Just be kind to yourself. How do we usually, a lot of us, talk to ourselves? You better get it done. Or like, we're often very harsh, we're our worst critics. We just somehow raised, a lot of us are raised that way. So I invite you to be really kind and compassionate towards yourself. There's never too much kindness. A lot of people struggle with self-love, and I'm not even talking here about self-love. What I'm suggesting is kindness. You can choose kindness always. Always. It's a choice. We can make this choice to be kind, even when somebody is wrong or something is going, you know, sideways. We still can choose kindness. That doesn't mean things are right or correct or whatever. We still can be kind. So choose kindness towards yourself. And so yeah, like with any challenge, don't see it as a black and white. Like one of my trainers, I like Betty Rocker person. Her name is Brie actually, but anyway, she says instead of all or nothing, she says all or something. If you have done just a little bit, celebrate it. And if you failed somewhere, investigate it and see what have you learned from this, because learning is the most important part. Use it as a process of, I'm going to learn. This is my scientific experiment, and I'm going to learn from this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be happening, and I will learn as I go. So again, be kind, be patient, and keep going. Do not give up, keep going. And if you want some accountability, I'll happily be your accountability person. You can find me on social media or send me an email or whatever. We can be accountability buddies. Right, so as you can see, my main strategy doing this is to not fight with myself, but instead finding peace within, integrating those monstrous parts of me back into me and finding more wholeness in the process. So you can use this challenge, quitting sugar, as a spiritual experience if you wish. You don't have to. Just a suggestion that's becoming more whole. Isn't it amazing to quit sugar and become more whole? I think it is. Anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know if you try it, what's the struggles. If you need any help, reach out. There are comments below. Um, and yeah, keep going. Don't give up. You can do hard things and be kind. Okay, see you later.